Okay, fabulous black woman, team meeting about Ashley and Tyler. Not because you care about this woman's marriage falling apart, not because you care about all the drama surrounding all the other black women that came forward about the lies that her husband told about his children, but because you are now in a position where you can have a media career in a media system that actively hates you. And yes, there are a lot of brand deals. There's a lot of things that you can do that were not possible a long time ago for black women in media, but it's a bit of a trap. Whether you watch reality TV or not, whether you've even been following any of this storyline, wild storyline, by the way, it doesn't matter because reality TV is a form of mass socialization. It's a form of identity building and it's a form of representation. It's also part of a gazillion-dollar industry. And that industry has a lot to offer those of you who would like to be social influencers or you'd like to go on a show and create a media career after that. But there's a trade-off that they don't often ask of other women. It's indicative of what this culture still believes about black women and how you need to be as wise as a serpent to get out of this alive. Quick backdrop, 2 days ago, Ashley from Love is Blind season 7 goes on AD's podcast from season 6, I believe, to talk about and break her silence on her divorce from Tyler. She is supposedly going on to speak about the reality behind the lies, deceit, and treachery of this man who is known to the collective internet as Liler. Further backdrop, Ashley and Tyler were supposed to be the great black love story on season 7, and everyone was thrilled and happy that she had finally found the guy she had been waiting for, and she was going to do this right, and she was going to have her picture perfect marriage, and then this guy drops a bomb that he has children. Is having children a problem? No, but it's who he had the kids with and the fact that he obscured all the facts around it that became an ongoing internet sensation and problem. He was not, as he portrayed himself later, a distant sperm donor to a dear friend, but an involved and then absent father with a messy financial and relational past with a lot of other women. In other words, he was not at all what he presented to be. He did not live up to Ashley's standards, and he was not ready for marriage. The kicker is that all these facts were easy to find, and online journalists did find them, and it's something that there's no way casting could have missed. Ashley wants to save her marriage. She goes on defense. She presents this new timeline to everybody, and she becomes a human shield for Tyler and her marriage. She's on every single podcast. She's talking to as many people as she can, and she's trying to humanize herself in this story. But the evidence would not die down, and the timelines rarely matched up, and so the storm continued to build. Part of what Ashley said kept her going was the fact that she could not believe that he had been vetted and approved to be on this show for any of this stuff that came out later to actually be true. But what did the show get out of this? As a business, this production company was able to get a lot of clicks, a lot of entertainment. Everyone's talking about the show. People were tuning into the reunion specifically to hear what had happened to this couple. And the show was getting restreamed because, of course, people are trying to go back and find clues. Journalist Jessie Wu said it best: black women's rage is profitable. Shows like this are a gamble for anyone, any woman, no matter what you look like. You are trusting a production crew that is trying to make an entertainment product to give you a favorable edit. You are hoping to parlay whatever you can get from that edit into some kind of lucrative career later, and you have to hope that they don't edit you in a way that is deeply unfavorable to you or not brand safe. The issue is we have to take stock as black women as to what these production companies think we can handle because of who we are. Certain demographics can parlay victimhood into brand deals. Other people get labeled trashy. Other people also find themselves deeply stereotyped and called all sorts of names, called everything but their name. You're not a heroine in the story who's been wronged. You're a fool for believing that this love story could happen for you in the first place, and that's crushing. You have black women coming on these shows where the social narrative and expectation from the audience is that mess is going to happen, that there's going to be squabbling and fighting, that people are going to be jealous, that people are going to want something that they can't have. You're going to have situations like the one AD was put in multiple times where she was sexualized, she was fetishized, and then she was offered up on a platter to all these different white people, and there's really no criticism about that. And most recently, we have watched as black men use their podcast platforms, they use their media output to solidify this idea that marriage for black women is settling suffering and building up some kind of man. And then we have media companies that are more than happy to cast unqualified men to be the counterparts for educated, hardworking, serious women who are looking for an actual marriage. They want to recreate these stereotypical high stakes of drama for black women because that sells. And then we will have a podcast like this one, which is produced by someone I could not track down, but I highly suspect, based off what some other journalists have said, is connected to the production company that produces Love is Blind, creating opportunities for their characters, their cast members, to come on and blame Black journalists or everybody else for why Tyler is what he is or was there in the first place. When we see media be put out online, you have to ask, as they teach you in the Center for Talented Youth at Johns Hopkins when you are 13 years old, who is saying this? Why are they saying it? Who benefits from this being put out there? We have long answered the question that most of reality TV is not really for Black women to find love. That's a happy accident if that happens. It's there to commodify their suffering as entertainment. American mass media has only recently started to portray dark-skinned Black women as legitimate love interests. And anytime they get cast in fictional stories about that, people have all sorts of things to say about how that's not realistic. And then when they get cast in non-fiction shows like reality TV, they are set up to fail over and over again. Clay and AD, who are from this same show, were apparently, allegedly, not given enough time together before that disastrous wedding where Clay jilted her at the altar. Production cast a man who was clearly not interested at all in marriage. They then cast women who they know can be manipulated to be ride or dies. Never fail to cast these resilient, loyal, I will do anything to make this work type of women. And they throw them together with a sprinkling of Black men who are not committed for marriage, except for Brett. That was one exception. There's a lot more factual media history wrapped up all in this, but I am under the weather, and I just was more interested in hearing what you all thought about the dueling podcasts that have been released about this with What the Reality and then Jessie Woo's work. Is it wrong to shift the blame to the Black women journalists, the internet, the people calling these two birds? Is that mean? Is it cruel? Or is the cruelty and the meanness more in the production side of things? That's the debate. It's annoying to me that the people who have the most information and the most power and how this actually went down are not coming to the table to talk about this. So would love to know what you think about it. Let me know, because we could chat about this some more.